DeAndre Hopkins, the best receiver in football. We're familiar with the toe drag swag, the fantastic catches, all the different things that he's doing for this offense. This is their number one player. Regardless of how great J.J. Watt is doing, this is the go-to that offense. But it's a little bit deeper with that. You got a young cornerback, Xavier Howard, who's coming out and saying, I've been watching film, and he pushes off a little bit. And DeAndre got word of this. Of course, reporters want to dive in, dig in, and really instigate the situation. And DeAndre simply responded, who?
Oh.
Who is Xavier Howard?
Sick burn.
Who is he? I haven't heard this meme who since Mike Jones single. Hey, Xavier Howard, who? But listen, I'll tell you from a receiver's perspective, really from any other player's perspective, the worst thing you could say to a player is, I don't know who you are. So this is two guys taking shots at each other. One guy saying, you push off, which means the cornerback is saying, you're not as good as people think you are.
Is that what that means? Because you said pushing off's okay.
That's what he's saying. You're subtly cheating. I'll say this. Some of the greatest receivers of all time cheat by pushing off. Sometimes it's chicken wings, sometimes it's arm. You ain't cheating, you ain't trying to wide receiver position.
Burying the lead a little bit, you said the best receiver in all of football to start this off.
I ain't burying the lead. I think everybody understands that. Antonio Brown, he's coming, but he doesn't have the crown right now. But the fact that DeAndre Hopkins is saying, I don't know who you are, that digs so deep. I've said that a couple of times to a couple of young cornerbacks. Janoris Jenkins, when he was young, playing with the St. Louis Rams, he was talking, barking. And I was having myself a day. And I said, bro, I don't even know who you are.
I love that.
You game plan for me. You weren't even on the game plan for us. And I saw it in his eyes. He was like, what? And really, I was joking. So I can't wait to see this battle because this is old school, trash-talking football, and these two players are going to collide in a major way.
Carissa Thompson actually drove around with DeAndre Hopkins. We're going to be sharing that later on in the show to get you guys set for Thursday night action, so stay tuned.
I remember Aaron Foster, a former Texan, used to go, turn around, let me see your name. Turn around, what is your name? I don't know who you are.
That's awful.
Me up. I'm looking at Brock Osweiler tonight against his old team, and not only am I looking at it, I'm rooting for him. I think the four of us take pride in that we don't take cheap jokes at easy targets.
Right.
There's things in the media, and certainly social media, that are just the dumbest, lowest hanging fruit. Nickelback jokes, and Shia LaBeouf, and J.R. Smith, and Amanda Bynes, and Keanu Reeves acting, and Philly and Boston sports stereotypes. I hate them. There's also a club of quarterback low-hanging fruits that we've seen over the years that are just the easy target. Jay Cutler, Sage Rosenfels, our friend Dan Orlovsky takes a lot, and somewhere right between Sam Bradford and Matt Schaub is Brock Osweiler. And I'm over it because let's talk about what Brock Osweiler's done.
Right.
Sat behind Peyton, comes off the bench, wins his first career game. Has the nerve to accept this huge contract from Houston, the audacity to sign what they offered him after winning a ring. He goes to Houston, guys, he didn't play well. He didn't. And there's no other way to put that. But he did win a playoff game, ditched by the Texans, Browns, Broncos again. And now guess what? He's one of the 32 again for the Miami Dolphins. For some reason, there's all this love for Ryan Fitzpatrick, even though he's thrown 6 picks in a game, has made a ton of money, has never played in the playoffs. It's almost like if Brock Osweiler had a wacky beard and went to Harvard, we would think he's a lovable figure. He's not. I root against guys who do dumb things off the field and who are unprofessional and out of shape. Brock Osweiler is not that. He is not the nickelback of quarterbacks. I am rooting for him tonight, and I hope he looks in the mirror tonight, looks at himself and says, this is how you remind me of who I really am, and I hope you see it. I'm rooting for it.
I like that.
Kroger, hello.
A Super Bowl champion,
reference.
$30 million in the bank.
River
Take
Thames.
The Nickelback, a Canadian rock band. Love it.
Of
Perfectly
course.
said, man.
I like that, and I like the revenge game
Well said.
factor of it all, of course. And I always love thinking about how these guys feel going into this matchup. DeAndre Hopkins agitated a little bit. Brock with maybe something to prove going up against the Texans where it didn't fare well. There's a low-key revenge game in this one that I'm intrigued by. It's Lamar Miller. That we don't talk about very much because he was born in Miami. He grew up in Miami. He went to the U. He spent his first 4 years of his career as a Miami Dolphin. They part ways with him. He gets signed in free agency to the Texans, and he's one of the least talked about running backs who get the ball as much as they do on any given Sunday. He's also coming off a 100-yard outing in Week 7. He also is facing a Dolphins defense that is the 4th most generous in points and yards per carry allowed in the league. One of the run defense really in Miami that is struggling. I feel like with Deshaun Watson, not 100%, still, coming off an injury, several injuries. The fact that he has been sacked 26 times behind that offensive line. Why wouldn't you lean on Lamar Miller? And I feel like he's going to give a little extra when he has that ball in his hand.
Up against his former team. Of course he wants to represent, Kay.
Of course. A little revenge game that's gone under the radar.
I like that.
Adam Gase is a fascinating personality in our league.
Talk about it.
We crown so many young coaches, whether it be Sean McVay or Mike Vrabel, maybe even a little prematurely, and we say these are the guys, and we love them because they've got these big personalities, all this stuff. Gase isn't very well liked by the media, and Gase doesn't necessarily love the media itself. In fact, 2 weeks ago, after the Tannehill-Osweiler stuff before the game, a local reporter, Armando Salguero, asked Adam Gase about when we would know about Ryan Tannehill, and here's what Adam Gase had to say.
I don't know. I think there's some kind of like HIPAA law or something like that. They can't talk about. I don't know. I don't sit there and ask him all these questions, and I just know the guy couldn't go today. All right, go ask him. I'm tired of answering this question about this guy. I got it, but you know what? I'm over it. Me and him, we know that he's not right now. Okay, the details of it, we'll keep that to us. You guys don't need to know that.
Last week they lose a game and Devontae Parker isn't dressed. This is Devontae Parker's agent talking about Adam Gase. Coach Gase is incompetent.
Whoa.
Period.
What?
And not telling the truth when it comes to Devontae, which is totally healthy and was needed big time today. This is the third game he has done this to Devontae this year. It's sickening and a grossly unfair characterization of my client. Wow. Adam Gase right now is up against it. They're a winning team. They're 4-3. Things are working. And yet the media doesn't love him. The agents of the players don't love him. And we've already seen him get rid of Ndamukong Suh, Jay Ajayi, Jarvis Landry, and a Pouncey brother saying they're not great for my locker room. Adam Gase is up against the wall. Tonight, a country watching, people rooting against him. I can't help but to think about where we are and go through some of the great British generals of all time.
Take us away, Peter.
Let's start with Vice Admiral Lord Nelson. Okay. Horatio Lord Nelson. Guys, if you don't know it, it was the Battle of Cape St. Vincent. This man right here.
That's a hat.
This guy right here disobeyed orders. He broke from the line, and he boarded and forced the surrender of 2 Spanish ships. His admiral said, don't go. He took his troops, went in, and they raided the Spanish, and they won that battle in 1797.
Okay.
How about the Duke of Wellington? You guys fans of the Duke of Wellington?
Who isn't, Peter?
I know we love the Duke of Wellington. Battle of Waterloo. Napoleon. A lot of press. Everyone loves Napoleon. Oh, okay. 33,000 French troops. But guess what? Duke of Wellington, with just 17,000 men, beat him. Beat Napoleon, and guess what? Underrated conqueror right there, I think. I think Duke of Wellington, a little underrated. In
I would think in a different era, he would be more appreciated.
Well, when we speak about conquerors, William the Conqueror is the GOAT. William the Conqueror.
GOAT conqueror?
1066, he led the Norman conquest of England. Guys, his victory in the Battle of Hastings was the turning point for an entire European land. This was the guy. He was responsible for sweeping changes not only to this area, but to Christianity, to aristocracy, to culture.
Okay. Peter, they were banged up too. The Battle of Hastings was his flu game.
That was his flu game.
That was.
I'd say all that to say this. Adam Gase, there have been some great, great people in this nation who have led troops against the odds. I want to see Gase back against the wall. Really find a way tonight, because when an agent is calling you out publicly, when the media is up against you, and when we're not crowning you, no pun intended, it is time for you to take it and you do it yourself. Dolphins, no one's taking them in this one. Osweiler up against a 4th straight on the road.
Yep.
Adam Gase, we're looking for you. Go conquer some land.
Well said. I hope they're watching. I hope all the Dolphins are watching. Hashtag Fins Up. We know the fans. We're one of the most vocal fan bases. They're tweeting all morning, talk about the Dolphins. Talk about the Dolphins. So I know that they're watching and enjoy that encouragement, Trace.
Shout out to the
Duke of Wellington.
That was amazing. History lesson over here.
Duke of Wellington. Funny on Twitter.
Yeah?
At the real Duke of Wellington.
Yeah,
I like it.
We'll be back after this. We are live in London.